Hey everybody, it's Dr. Johnny, and a question came in from the community. What should we stock up on? Are there any healthy foods we might have around in our house that we didn't know were healthy? Or, with the limited selection that we can get at the supermarket when we're able to go at all, what could we possibly stock up on that would kind of give us, 5 or 6 days worth of fortification so we could limit our trips outside and we could still eat healthy and nutritious with what we could keep around? So what I did here was I basically did a random sampling of what's in my cupboard and what's in my refrigerator. And some of this is new. It's replaced the stuff that's normally here, so I've been able to replenish it. But everything that I've replenished, like the fruits and vegetables here, are widely available. I don't know if you guys neighborhood is like mine, but I've gone to 3 or 4 different supermarkets where the shelves are just cleared right out. There's like nothing there. But if you go to the fruit and vegetable section, it's like a cornucopia. It's every color of the rainbow. It's all there. That's not selling out. So one of the things I do is I stock up on this stuff. I don't know if you can see it as clearly, but this is my daily basket, something like this. And what has it got in it? Celery, apples, lemons, limes, carrots, ginger, squash, red peppers, turmeric, ginger. And what I do, I take the red stuff and I make it into a juice that looks pretty much like this, the red version of the juice, and I alternate it with everything green and put it into a juice like this. And I drink this stuff all day long. And yes, I get some pushback, but juice doesn't have fiber. Yeah, but man, it has more nutrients in a glass of this stuff than you can imagine most foods having. I mean, this is just a multiple vitamin and mineral and polyphenol and catechin and all the other things, flavonoids, all the things that are found in fruits and vegetables in that concentrated juice. And yes, it doesn't have fiber. I often add a fiber supplement, so I'm not worried about that so much. But that's a great way to get nutrition all through the day. Then other stuff that is not difficult to replenish includes grass-fed meat and bacon. I did an entire video about bacon as a health food, which may have surprised some of you out there in YouTube land that may not be familiar with my work, but I've talked about bacon many, many times, and there's a separate video on that, so I don't want to do the whole talk on bacon. But the bottom line is it's a great food to have around. Bacon's like the perfect keto food. It's got only fat and protein, right? There's 0 carbs, and the protein-fat ratio sometimes there's a little more fat than there is protein, but whatever it is, it's a really, if you get good quality bacon from what they call pastured pork sources, where the pigs are raised humanely and they run around, it's kind of the equivalent of grass-fed pigs, except, that's a really, really healthy food. And I can tell you, I've said this in other videos, I've knocked out some major carb cravings at night by just making 3 or 4 slices of bacon. It works really well. Then other things, nuts. Nuts are huge in my household. I have jars and jars and jars of nuts. Most of them have little labels. I've got the Brazil nuts and the macadamia nuts and the cashews and the almonds and the pecans and the walnuts and they're all good for you. They're just nuts, berries, beans. These are the foods that will sustain you and build a really healthy metabolism, which will help you during this period, because that kind of metabolism is very supportive to the immune system. So you want to eat these kind of foods anyway. I think this is a great time to recommit to this way of eating. Now I do have some carbs in my cupboard. First of all, I wrote a program called Metabolic Factor that has a carb feast built into it. It's called a carb cycling program. So there are plenty of places where carbs are acceptable or desirable, and not everybody is in a very, very low carb program. And some people may be flirting with ketosis, something I've talked about a lot, not necessarily being obsessive about getting into ketosis. And you may find that you have some room in your eating plan for carbohydrates. I have plenty of them in the cupboard, and they're also not hard to get. I have some organic black bean spaghetti. I had some organic red lentil penne. I'm starting to see cauliflower pasta, which I got in Sprouts, and this is all over the place. And the perfect accompaniment for that is tomato sauce, which is really a health food. There are so many great antioxidants in tomato, and one of them being lycopene, which is just a terrific nutrient that we don't get enough of, and men in particular can use. And so tomato sauce on any of these things makes a very great meal. You just load it up with some butter. I've got grass-fed butter in there. That's another thing that's pretty easy to keep and store. Wonderful source of fat. And then there's peanut butter. I mean, there's the old staple peanut butter that everybody has, and we forget how healthy this can be if you get a good brand where there isn't any sugar added and it's no trans fats. But man, peanut butter is a savior as far as, you know, healthy foods go. We've been known to have a couple of tablespoons of it as a kind of a midday snack. It's energy producing. It tastes great. It goes great with bananas. You can make all kinds of snacks on it. It goes great on celery. Lots of ways to combine these things to make really healthy foods. I always have canned tuna on hand. Shameless plug for Vital Choice. There's a link on my website to them. They're third generation Alaskan fishermen. They send the best and most tested and least contaminated things that live in the ocean. That's where I get them from, and it's a great place, and you should check it out also. The point is, it doesn't take a lot of ingenuity to figure out how to use these things in different clever ways. When I was searching through I forgot about this, when I was searching through the cupboard, I found garbanzo beans, which is another, you know, wonderful food, high in fiber, high in antioxidants. And I found them hidden away in a corner of the closet with some dark cocoa powder. Now, why in the world would they be with the dark cocoa powder? Well, I'll tell you what. Because last year I did a series of morning television shows where I made this dish. We were talking about how do you get your kids to eat healthy stuff, and specifically, how do you get them to eat fiber? And we made this recipe, and we didn't tell them what it was. And it comes out looking and tasting like the most delicious, rich chocolate, sort of a cross between a fudge and a mousse and a pudding. I don't know exactly what you would call it, but it's just this bowl of goodness. And I brought it out and I let the hosts try it, and all of them said, this is insanely good and my kid would eat this. And then I told them what was in it, which is basically garbanzo beans, dark chocolate right here, a little bit of vanilla, fiber supplement, which gives you even more fiber in this amazing health food. And then we sweeten it with a little bit of grade B maple syrup. So yes, it does have some sugar, but my God, it's a low glycemic food with hardly any impact on blood sugar. And you can't find anything with more fiber than that. And it's chocolate and it tastes like dessert. So my point is, this stuff is stuck in my cupboard. This is stuff that stores well, and except for the fruit and vegetable and meat, which is pretty easily available, it doesn't have to be renewed very often. And I want to be clear, this is not the only way to do this. What I'm arguing for is not that you do it the way I do it in my house, but that you kind of reset your relationship with food during this time. Everything isn't available, and that doesn't have to be a bad thing. It might even goose some of us into being a little bit more on track with the eating choices that I know you all want to make, and sometimes it's harder to make them, but this might be a good time to really commit to making them. Because there ain't that many choices. And with a little bit of care, you can keep your house stocked with your version of these foods. You know, maybe a dozen different things that can serve as kind of the basis of a rotating kind of playlist of really healthy, nutritious things where you won't be missing anything. And you may come out of this whole thing a lot healthier than you started. So the point is really to empower you to rethink your relationship with food. Breakfast does not have to be cereal. Lunch does not have to be a sandwich. Dinner does not have to be meat and potatoes or whatever. You can be really creative with this stuff. And you can do it with not that many actual ingredients. And you can do it with very infrequent shopping. And I think that's really the message here, because I get this stuff once a week. It's 1 week trip to the grocery store instead of 7. I'm one of those people who buys the food every day before they eat it. And so I cut down significantly by going once a week, picking up this stuff. Boom, you're good for the week. So try your version of that. See if you could do that for a week. And I think you'll wind up feeling better, eating healthier, and probably staying out of a lot of social situations that you don't need to be in right now. So with all good love, my heart goes out. I love you all. Please keep the questions coming. Keep the engagement coming. I want to hear how you guys are doing and what tricks you're finding that help you sustain yourself and your soul and your own self-care. And I want to share with you what I'm doing as well, both physically in terms of supplements, in terms of food, but also mentally and socially, because I think that's a big part of how we stay healthy and well during this very, very challenging time. Let's find the opportunity in this challenge and not be defeated by it. This is Jonny Bowden, and please, if you like that video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and I will talk to you on the next video.